All right. Hey, Seamus, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Tom?
Good. Thanks for coming on and joining me for a few minutes. What I want to do is, kind of talk to business owners like yourself, and we've been working together, and how you've been handling through this craziness and things you've done in your business, and how you're coming out of it, and any advice we can give to other business owners because a lot of people want to know what's going on. So, tell everybody a little about your business.
Sure. So it's Tri-City Heating and Cooling, appliance and plumbing. We do service on those contracting, contracting for plumbing, heating, cooling, and appliance repair in the Southern Connecticut area. We have 52 employees. We've been established since 1963. My parents started the business. We're primarily residential service and installation. So, I mean, like everybody, Tom, the coronavirus has affected everybody's business and has, really changed the dynamics of our business.
Yeah. But you've been still open during all this time.
Yeah, we're considered essential. So when this first happened, I mean, nobody knew where this was going and how it was going to affect you. So I think fear had a lot to play into it. What we did is we got together, my management team got together, and that was the first week of March. So we hit it really early, and we decided, let's come up with some protocols, some standard operation procedures. That the very first thing is to make sure that people feel safe for us going out to their home. The thing you have to remember, Tom, too, is that people now were quarantined in their home. So they want a working refrigerator, a dishwasher, a washer, a dryer. They want to make sure their air conditioning or the heat is working, that the toilets and their showers are running, because they're spending 90% of the time in their house. So we stayed steady at that time. We had, but we wanted to make sure that they felt comfortable in calling us. So we set some protocol up for PPE, protective equipment, and also training our technicians and our office people on washing their hands, wearing a mask, wearing shoe covers, having the antibacterial lotion, and wearing gloves in the people's homes. And we went right to social media and to the radio and let people know that these are the things we're doing to make sure that we're keeping your family safe and keeping our technicians safe. A couple of things we also did was that still some people, I would say we tracked it the first all of March, and 80% of the people let us in the home. There was still 20% of people that did not want us coming into the home. So we set up my son Seamus set up a virtual proposal policy process, and basically through Zoom, and if they didn't have Zoom, we used FaceTime. We had them walk us through the house, get us the information that we needed. We used vision appraisal and other online websites to be able to get the sizes of the house, and to be able to, like Google Earth, to see the house and see window sizes and be able to do heat load calculations so we get the right size equipment. We were able to give some virtual proposals right over the phone. They took a little bit while longer, and it's funny, 30% of them came back and said, we're ready to move forward and we'd like you to come out to the house. And we finalized the paperwork back at the house. So we really had to pivot and rethink our way of doing business.
That's awesome, and I think you kept on top of it. I mean, how would you say the mood of your people, your team are, and how did they handle the initial part, and now that they're coming back, how's that?
So at the beginning, of course, everybody was afraid, especially in the office with having 10, 15 people in the office. So we set protocol up here, taking everybody's temperature when they walked in every single morning. If you left the building and you came back in, you immediately walked to the sink and you washed your hands. Nobody else was allowed in the building except for the people that worked there. And then not even my mom and dad were allowed in. So we kept it very strict. We had our manager meetings in our offices using Zoom. So we didn't even gather. The conference room has not been used since then. So we had to make sure that our employees really they were at ease with this. Same thing with the technicians out in the field. So that, it's changed a lot. And I think that, this is going to be around for a little while. So I think it's going to be the new norm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what were some of you mentioned some of the changes that you made. What do you think had the biggest effect on getting you through all this? What changes?
Well, at the beginning, when everybody was fearful of of what could happen, there was 10 to 12 employees that asked if they can work from home. And there was technicians that asked if they could take the unemployment because some of them had some reasons why they would be more susceptible to getting the virus. And of course, we worked with them. And then as time went on, I think people were just like, I want to get back to work. But at the beginning, when nobody knew what direction this was going in, we had, out of 52 employees, we had about 38 that we were working with. And then by the end of March, we were back up to like 40, 45. And now we're back up to everybody's back to work. So I think time was a big deal. People had to get used to it. They had to make sure, we didn't know what was going to go on. You had to make sure that you weren't going to walk outside and it was going to be the apocalypse and you were going to die.
Yeah. I know a couple of things we talked about, how to re-educate the employees when they came back. It's almost like starting over again, right?
Yeah, it was definitely. The most important thing was you don't get to see them, so you don't get that communication, right? Mm-hmm. And we always had a weekly meeting with my salespeople, a 2-hour weekly meeting, Fridays, 8 a.m. So we get together, share everything, go over our numbers. We didn't have that. So when I found out that was missing, and that was happening with the service and install also with all the different departments and the office. So what we started doing is I started having my Zoom meeting for my sales meeting. And then what I would do so that was on Fridays. On Tuesdays, I would call each salesperson individually, go through their proposals with them, and stay in constant contact with them through texting. It was support. They needed support. I don't know what support they didn't think they were getting just because we weren't meeting with each other in the room, but perception's reality, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one of the things, I think you're one of the unique businesses, I always go through, the stages, there's lockdown stage, there's training, there's warming up, there's a sprint, and even now compete and grow. And I think, you didn't go through the lockdown, but I think you went through each and every stage. And I think the thing that I saw you get through it was, the meetings that we had constantly analyzing what's going to happen. We nailed it down, and you nailed it down to what's going to happen in May. What are we predicting in June, in July, and you're looking at updating that on a weekly basis.
Well, that part was you and I meeting almost every single day and discussing that half hour to 45 minutes that we sat down and discussed the what ifs. Those plans were already in place. So when that happened, we were able to implement it. We only shared it with our top management because you don't want to scare the hell out of everybody, right?
Yep.
So we used those what ifs, and I really think that we nailed it. That was good planning, and it was good management. And having you and I having those meetings daily was huge for me to be able to bounce those ideas off. Because some of my ideas were a little crazy.
Oh, yeah. Hey, this is that time the crazy ideas actually work. And
right now we're in the thriving mode.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd say you might even be in that, when I was saying the warming up, I think you're past that and you're in that sprint mode. You're, like you said, just mentioned to me earlier about people are coming out now, they're all of a sudden they want to do the stuff that they held off doing in those 2 months.
I just was with one of my salespeople, and he said the same thing. He goes, man, I feel like the last 10 days I've been drinking water through a fire hose. He goes, it's been nonstop. And while we were sitting there signing one of the proposals, I got 2 customers that texted me and said they wanted to move forward, and he got another one. And I have 4 other salespeople. So this end of May has really come alive. And if my fear now is if the warm weather hits hard, am I going to have the capacity to be able to handle all the work? But one of the things that we did too, Tom, if you remember, that I think really worked well, which was kind of like we didn't know what was going to happen at all with whether the virus would come back, what people would be more fearful, what would happen when things start opening up. But we took the educated, if you remember, we really looked at where we thought we would be and how can this affect us and where we thought the economy was going to go and what we thought the virus was going to do. And it's all guess, right? But the logic comes into it too. We know that there's not going to be a vaccine in the next year. They haven't come out with a vaccine for the flu. Chances are they're not going to come out with a vaccine for this, and we're going to learn to live with it. We're going to build our antibodies up, and there's going to be some casualties, unfortunately. But as Americans, you're not going to sit there and hide behind a rock for the next 5-6 years. We're not going to do that anymore. And I think people are getting used to that now, and that's what we looked at. And that's when if you remember, we went into marketing mode, which I thought was. I talked to Amanda about that the other day. I'm like, do you remember like a month ago? We're only talking like the end of March, beginning of April. We started talking about ramping up our marketing. I wonder how many companies actually did that. I mean, had to really. I mean, that took a lot of guts to be able to do that. But the nice part about it was pay-per-click, SEM, SEO, radio, the co-op. Nobody was marketing. We were the only ones on the radio, and I got 3 times as much radio than I would ever get. And we've been doing radio for 15 years because they had that availability there.
Yeah.
The vacancy there. So, and then on top of it, I called the manufacturers and said, guys, I mean, who's spending your co-op money? They said, nobody. So normally when I would get 30 days of co-op money, I'm on my 90th day of co-op money. And I got a call this morning from one of the manufacturers saying, hey, you're the only one we're delivering to. Tell you, if you guys want to go another 60 to 90 days, we will co-op it with you. So I'm getting like 5 to 6 times as much co-op dollars as I normally would. And that's 50%. So they're paying half of my marketing.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and I think without saying is you would recommend that businesses do more marketing now than less, than going and hide.
I mean, they got to, I don't know. Obviously, the only thing I know about is contracting, as far as restaurants and hair salons and, massage therapy and all that. I can't imagine what those people are going through.
Yeah.
But when there's a change, there's an opportunity for somebody. There's something out there that you can do. There's got to be an opportunity out there. So, and that's basically, if you remember, we had that meeting with everybody, the Zoom meeting with everybody, and we said, where can we find opportunity? I mean, you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to lay down and die, or you're going to get up and fight. So,
right.
If there's not a big choice there. You're either going out of business or you're lasting, and you find a way to do it. And that's what we did. We were able to find it by putting. I mean, I know all my employees have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. They have all the answers.
Right.
All I have to do is get them together and get them to start thinking. That's my job, is to get them together and get them motivated.
Yeah, and I think what I saw from the marketing, even sit with Amanda, is we looked at different keywords. You got it. It's not just, hey, I want to market more. Your marketing's totally changed because your old marketing wasn't there. It's now it's for compassionate. How can we help you? I know she changed the geography and the SEO words.
Well, she's been really studying a lot and taking courses on marketing, because what we're finding out is everything is everything is on the internet. Well, most of 90% of our marketing is done through search engine marketing, optimization, our website, pay-per-click, social media. And she, in the last 2 years, has taken that by the collar, and she's done a great job with it. And she's learning on it. And we were just talking about the other day, she's learning about it every single day. And the person that becomes the expert there is the person that wins.
Yeah.
Because that's what people are going to, especially now. I mean, look what's happening. You see all, and this is one of the things we talked about, all the complaints on Facebook about Frontier and Optimum, that people are getting knocked off and they're not being able to use it, and their internet doesn't work and their phones don't work. And it's because of everybody's using all this bandwidth because they're home on all these devices.
Right.
Well, if they're home on all those devices, you should be in front of them.
Exactly. It's that simple, and you got to relook at your marketing. I think you guys have done. I think your whole management team went through that very scared, panic in the beginning, and they've really turned it around. And I think
if you remember those first 3 meetings.
Oh yeah, no, I remember them well, and I think we went through them, and I think all business owners got to expect that to happen. But when they got through that, they came up with some great ideas. I think everybody added to it. And what an education that everybody's getting now. They can't write these in textbooks. I mean, your staff is young, and boy, they've gotten a lesson that they can't get at any school. That's for sure.
here I am thinking I knew everything about my business, and I got to tell you, the silver lining here is it's like I went to college, a 4-year college course in the last 60 days.
Oh, absolutely.
Unbelievable how much, and you'd be surprised how resilient a human being is, and how much you can get out of yourself and what your employees put out when you're pushed up against a wall.
Yeah, it's a change for, it's a change on how I had to coach you and other clients. It's a change how you had to lead the team. Sometimes you had to be tough. Other times you had to be nurturing. One last thing, and what would you advise other business owners, depending on, they're all in different stages. What's advice you would give the business owners coming out of this?
Don't wait around. A lot of people are, I talked to a couple other guys in HVAC, and they're waiting for things to, we're just waiting for the state to reopen. We're waiting for things to go back to normal. This is normal now.
Right.
So you need to change. You need to pivot. You need to look at your business, and you need to make those changes. And you need to, you're going to have to market, okay? And you got to look. And then the other thing you have to do is you have to take care of your employees. So, and you have to listen to them because they're still scared. They're scared of 2 things. They're scared of the virus, and they're scared about being unemployed.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, more of them were scared about being unemployed than the virus. So, and look how many millions of people are on unemployment. And if you're one of the strong companies that are keeping your employees, you're going to have an employee for a lifetime.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the way you got to do it. So, hey, I really appreciate the time and sharing that story with everybody. And thanks. And we'll be talking again very soon.
All right, man. Stay healthy, strong, and safe out there.
Thanks, Seamus.
All right, Tom. Take care.